Hey there, I'm Ashley Casper. I create content for creative entrepreneurs who want more freedom, more breathing room, and a business that supports their creativity, not drains it. So if you're trying to build an income online without burning yourself out, then you found yourself in the right place. So let's jump into today's topic. I built a creative business that slowly made me not enjoy creating. It seemed like everything that I loved was becoming content. I was trying to figure out the strategy behind it, and that became exhausting. And then I accidentally broke my own rule that I thought was holding it all together. And that's when things began to shift for me. Nobody really talks about this part, how easy it can be to build a business around something that you love and then slowly start to lose the connection that you have with that thing. And that thing no longer brings you life. And it's sad. And I want to talk about that. But first, before I do, I want to explain what I'm meaning whenever I say creative entrepreneur, because it might not be what you think. And I really do believe that understanding this distinction is really what made the difference for me, and I think it can for you too. We'll get there, I promise. So most people think creative entrepreneurship is about selling your art or monetizing on your passion. You know, kind of like trying to figure out how to turn the thing that you love making into something that people want to pay for, people want to buy. And that is a part of it. But there is a deeper underlying piece to it that's really important. And this deeper thing is what really changed things for me. And it's this: creative entrepreneurship is about learning to stop abandoning yourself while building something meaningful. I'm going to say that again. Creative entrepreneurship is about stopping abandoning yourself and building something that is meaningful. Because here's what happens. You start with this spark, this really great idea that you've been brainstorming about, this thing that you love. Maybe it's writing, maybe it's designing, maybe it's painting, or maybe it's just the way that you see the world, and you want to pour that out into something like a book or a course. And then somewhere along the way, you start hearing the voices. You know the voices. They're not your voice. Well, sometimes they can be. But usually they're the voices of the critics and the doubters. The ones that say, but what are you going to do with that? And the ones that say, but why? Because they just don't get it. Or for me, I had a voice that showed up that tried telling me that every creative impulse had to justify itself by producing something. And slowly but quietly, the thing that you built to give you room to exhale was slowly suffocating you. So how many of you have taken that idea, that spark, that really got you going, and you created a blog or a shop or a Facebook page about it because it lit you up whenever you were in that brainstorming idea generation, time frame? Do you remember that feeling? That feeling when you hit publish the first time to share something that was genuinely yours? The first time someone responded to something and said, hey, I want that. And then those start to come in more and more. And then you slowly start to feel like you've got a second job that you can't quit. Suddenly, every moment of creation becomes content. And you feel like any quiet moment that you have is a missed opportunity for something productive. And then every creative idea after that begins to get filtered through this question of, but will this sell? That's not creative entrepreneurship. That is creative imprisonment. I realized that I was living by this invisible rule that I had made up that said everything that's creative that I do must be useful or productive or help my business in some way. And I finally broke that rule, and I allowed myself to just create for the fun of it. And surprisingly, nothing fell apart. In fact, it really helped me see things in a whole new light. So I dropped that rule. I dropped it because I was exhausted, and I just stopped enforcing it. And now I want to disarm something. You might be thinking, this isn't for me. I'm not that creative. And I want to stop you right there, because creativity is not just art, and it's not just painting or writing or even making things with your hands. It can be problem solving, and it's storytelling. It's the specific way that you explain something to a friend who's struggling to understand something, and the way you explained it helps them understand it. It's curiosity, it's expression, and it's play. And most of us lost that somewhere along the lines of becoming an adult. They call us grown-ups. We stopped creating because we started believing that everything we did had to produce something for us. And if it didn't, then it didn't need our time and our energy. We trade finger painting for spreadsheets and daydreaming for doom scrolling. We stopped making messes and started trying to perfectly plan things that sometimes don't always happen. Think about the last time that you created something just because you wanted to, not for an audience, not for a platform, and not because it fit into whatever content you were supposed to be delivering that day, just because something inside you wanted to do it. For a lot of people, they have to think back years and years on the last time that they did something like that. And that's the disconnection that I'm talking about. I'm not standing here telling you to abandon your creative business and go live in a yurt in the woods. That's not what I'm saying at all. Creative entrepreneurship is not about escaping work. Not at all. It's really about finding ways to create meaningful work, aligned work, and sustainable work. You know, the work that doesn't drain you and supports your humanity. And there's a big difference between building a business that funds your life and building a business that consumes your life. And that difference really is everything. Your business should support your creativity, not replace it. And I say that as someone who accidentally built a business that drained everything out of me. It disconnected me from creating, and creating was the very thing that brings me life. I wanted more room to exhale, not less. And I had to learn that the hard way. So what does it look like when you actually get this right? It looks like permission. Permission to create something that has no strategy behind it. Permission to take a Tuesday afternoon and make something just purely because you want to. And not because your content calendar is asking you to. Not because it's going to drive the traffic. Just because you want to make it. Permission to build your business in a way that feels sustainable instead of hustle driven. And it gives you permission to say no to those social media algorithms that just keep us up too late at night. And that kind of permission doesn't come from someone else. It doesn't come from an outside source. You have to give that to yourself. It comes from deciding that your experience of building matters just as much as what you're building towards. The journey is just as important as the end goal. Creative entrepreneurship is deeply personal, and it starts the moment that you stop waiting for someone else to give you the green light. And it starts when you stop asking, is this productive? And start just asking, does it feel good? Does it feel good to you? And I know that that sounds simple, but for women like us, heart-centered women who tend to put everyone else's needs before our own, who feel overwhelmed and overstimulated and stuck in this loop of overthinking every decision before making any of them, and giving ourselves permission to create without justification, that's the messy action that we have to take. That's the messy action that actually changes things. Not everyone is going to understand your vision. Your family may not get it. The people in your life who are really trying to color within the lines, they're not going to understand what you're building. But that does not mean that your vision is wrong. It means that your vision is yours, and building a life around it, not just a business, a real life. That's the work, the beautiful, imperfect, and deeply human work. Creative entrepreneurship is not a strategy. It's a reclaiming of what is already you. It's your inner child picking up the paintbrush or the Apple Pen again. It's you choosing you, finally, without apology. By the way, if you want an income stream that does not drain you and it gives you room to exhale, there's a done-for-you system that you can check out at roomtoexhale.com that pays up to $128 per customer, while the system handles the selling for you. You can check it out. The link is in the description below. And remember, the goal isn't just to build a profitable business. It's to build a life that gives you room to exhale and room to create in a way that breathes life into you. So if you enjoyed this video, like and subscribe and follow for more. And let me know in the comments below your biggest takeaway from this video. I'll see you on the next one. Thanks for watching.